It's been raining all night. It kind of torrentially at times, and it comes in waves. I love the sound of the rain, and in this house, the way it's constructed, it's very easy to hear it on the roof, and the wind and the whole bit in the gutters, woo, and they're predicting thunder and lightning, so who knows, it might happen for us now. You can kind of feel the energy in the air. I found a quote this morning. I just have the habit of writing quotes down all the time, and so I'm sort of knee-deep in a couple of lines here, a couple of paragraphs there of writing that's really resonated for me. And I've, before I started the channel, I thought, what am I doing with it, collecting this little scraps of paper with, but it's proved really useful because I can just sort of leaf through these leaves of paper and something will grab my attention. Two things popped out this morning. And one of them, and it's just credited to Steve. I have no idea if that's like, I don't know who that is. I know a few Steves. This says, you have to find the connection, the strength, not through conversation, but through the words not said. What's not said is where the connection is. I quoted that quote. I found that very resonant. I guess because I believe in speech, and I believe that that's the way you connect, and hence I'm always going on about other people not being communicative. So this kind of brought me, it changed the frame of reference a little bit. And it's certainly true that with the people I connect with the most easily, that issue of communication isn't an issue. There's an open dialogue even when we're not talking. The channels are still open. And it sort of reminds me in the inverse, once as an exercise in counseling, I was asked to map my family tree as much as I knew about everybody. And what came out was that I knew a lot about one side of the family. And we were supposed to code it if we knew that somebody was depressed. It had we had to find put it in a certain color ink, or alcoholism, or whatever it was, identified traits, to see how they came down through the family tree. And on the side that I knew, it was absolutely jam-packed with trouble here, trouble there, mental illness, whatever it was like bright with these colors of what had gone wrong. And the side that I didn't know, obviously, didn't have that. It was a simpler tree. It just didn't have these. But the counselor looking at this said, the blank side is the significant one. That's where we should dig in, because that's where the secrets are. If you know all about the family troubles and it's talked about and it's out in the open, that's a very different scenario that when everything has sort of been covered up or hidden, that's where the trouble is. So you don't have to talk about the deep connections, but likewise, the areas that aren't talked about really can indicate, something's going on. It's like you need to flip the rock. You need to dig in a little bit to discover what's there, because that blankness will hold some answers. So they're kind of contradictory. Then the other thing I came across, and it just blew me away because I was thinking, who wrote this? And it was it was me. And it was like reading, I don't know when I wrote it, I think fairly recently, but I have no real memory of it. One thing I said was that every character in the dream is you, the dreamer. It represents different kind of fragments of your psyche that are played out in the characters in your dreams. I think it's Fritz Perls who just talked about dreams in that way, and that was very useful to me. So, you know, the scary guy in the dream, if you have a nightmare, is an aspect of yourself. If you dream about a little child who's lost in the woods, you know, that's an aspect of yourself. But so is the woods you're lost in. You know, the objects in the dream are also representative somehow of some facet of your psyche that your psyche's trying to work out in this dreamscape. I felt, I've written fiction where I was aware of that working as well, that every character represented a sort of facet of my psyche. I then define, and this is I got from somewhere else, God is the one whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. You know, this inclusive thing. That's not my thought, but I think it's a good one to sort of contemplate. Because again, it does that sort of, it turns it inside out. And I talk about the glass darkly, which I talked about yesterday, comes back again in this. And that ceremonies around the ineffable, you know, what you can't get your hands on quite, through the ceremony, you can sort of invite that mystery in. And I called, again, the divine, God, however you want to label it, I call it the Wa, just because the name is pretty arbitrary. I say the Wa, the Chi, the ever, never changing. If I at one time knew that, it's really fascinating to come across it again and say, you know, that makes a lot of sense to me. Who was that wise woman? Some part of me that understands. I find that, and then I read it with this sort of like one step removed. Wow, I resonate with that. It's interesting. So I think that the connection, strangely, not through conversation, is, particularly if we're waiting for a big conversation, for somebody to just tell us what the hell they were doing and what they think about it, and, you know, we want to dig in with a lot of questions. And anyway, it just, I find that something I'd like to dig in to. First card out. That's so weird because when I decided to use this deck, I haven't used it in a long time, this was the card on top. I just cut it and there it is again. It's the Four of Pentacles. It's the need to kind of buckle down, batten down the hatches. If you can see this person there, like on the top of a citadel, and there's a tower in the background, you know, like Tower Major Arcana in the Tarot. This is in Pentacles energy, something tangible and structural. And Tower implies the taking down of that. And this guy's sitting there with his hands on the pentacle and his feet on some of the bed, like he's trying to hang on to everything that makes him feel secure and grounded and safe. But at what cost? He doesn't look happy. He looks pale. He looks exsanguinated, like the blood has been... He's opened a vein for something. And this holding on to it's like an attempt to somehow staunch the flow. But he's protecting what he values. He, she, they. Four of Coins, Four of Pentacles. What's this person trying to protect or protect themselves from? Okay. Wow. I was like, wow. It's like, well, every time. The burden. The weight of something. And in this, it's like the lessons accrued. This is like a Tibetan monk in a kind of prayer pose. And looking humble to me. It's not the usual vibe of Ten of Wands carrying the burden on your back. But it's the end of a cycle. In fire energy. Well, you know, and I said this guy looks like he's been drained of his blood. You know, somehow so emptied out, Four of Pentacles, that he needs to hang on to what he has left. He, she, they, hanging on to what's left. Maybe once these 10 wands have been, he's turned his back on them. It's not about laying it down, but it's just like turning the attention inward. 10 of Wands. 5 of Cups. I think turning the attention inward to deal with sadness. Might be putting down the burden of sadness. But 4 of Pentacles, 5 of Cups is like shutting down your feelings. But it's 10 of Wands closing out of that cycle, wrapping it up. Ace of Cups. The opportunity for love coming back into this character's life. If you add the Ace to the 5, you get 6 of Cups, which is the minor arcana of lovers, basically. It's the soulmate energy of like meeting the one you've known. What was that again? The ever never changing. That's sort of 6 of Cups energy. So there's this hanging on to what's left, turning your back on some kind of something that no longer serves you, that you may have been dedicated to. almost in like a devotee of something. You're turning your back, somebody's turning their back. Maybe with regret and sadness, Five of Cups. There's an opportunity for new love once the burden's laid down. And here it is again, Page of Cups. Page of Cups under Four of Pentacles. Some feelings are being freed up, and it's almost like in the grieving process, you sort of bring back this potential for new love energy. You're kind of, there's a freshness, there's a beginning, there's a heart activation. And it's almost like, I think it draws in this invitation, this affectionate gesture from somebody in feelings, in cup energy, same as Five of Cups, Ace of Cups. Tell us about Ten of Wands. What's this turning your back on? Somebody turning their back on. I'm not sure what. Seven of Cups. Maybe a lot of options, confusion about a lot of options. It can also be illusion, kind of like this somehow a love, an affectionate gesture is coming in. And perhaps your response is, what do I do with this? It confuses you. The Wanderer in this deck, that's the Fool. This is somehow like shaking off the confusion. Card of Aries. You know, kind of taking charge of your personal destiny to take a risk and start again. Like some energy, fire energy, could be in Aries, Leo, or Sag. Is somehow connected to this. I'm sorry. I bump the lamp and it goes into bright mode. Somehow this Fool's Leap in fire energy, in Wands energy, has to do with turning the back on other concerns, other, it's like, it has something to do with things you used to be, or somebody was a devotee of something. I don't quite know what that means. It could be wrapping up a cycle of this hanging on to what you've got. It's sort of, this is a card of like hardening your heart. Withholding, withdrawing. And this is sort of the softening of the heart. Opening to sadness, which allows for this new feeling. Like feeling is coming back in. Remember that you know, he's pale because his blood isn't flowing. It's like being constricted by a tourniquet. Four of Pentacles is being clamped down, is contracting is out of fear or the desire to hold on. And it's cut off flow. And somehow through the Five of Cups, through kind of acknowledging the sadness, you're able to open to new love. I think that's one character. The other character, well, I'm not sure who's who. Either you're I'm not sure. What's the new beginning? Wow. Okay. The new beginning involves moving. Here, let me just fix this if I can. That's a little better. Moving into calmer waters. Six of Swords. Into a calmer mental stillness. It's getting still. It's getting that clarity in sword energy. Moving on from, Five of Swords. What's not clear, the mind games, the BS. And it's the liberation, this butterfly. Something that's evolving. It always speaks to me of like the journey across from crazy place to calm place. Sort of through the spectrum. And it's quite quick, it's sword energy, but this card indicates on the way. Can be a card of travel. And Fool being called a wanderer in this deck strikes me as an echo of that. The new beginning, able to move forward now because something has changed in the way of thinking about it. It's sort of like from confusion, this state of illusion, what's real? Like almost, can I trust this Page of Cups gesture? I mean, there is sort of a question here because it's Seven of Cups. Uncertainty. Can I step into full energy? And if I do, what am I stepping into? It's kind of like that. But there's a clarity coming. On Page of Cups, please. Three of Wands. This is like being open to what's coming. Looking into the future. And leaning into it. This character is leaning into it. It's Wands energy again. So there's an expectation for this thing to come in. This Page of Cups gesture. Equally, it could be somebody making this apology or this affectionate gesture because they're looking with some optimism toward a future, toward what's coming in for them. Four of Swords, a healing. That's clarifying Six of Swords, that moving into a better understanding, a better mental place, more clarity. And this is a card of being still, not talking, not moving. And this is a card of moving on from the troubled place. And I think there's something about like in that journey from the troubled Five of Swords place. Bad communication, fractious friction, into the calmer place, being a kind of a journey. It's the healing journey. And it's kind of kicked off by this, I mean, in this depiction, it looks like an actual sick person, kind of hand to head, pained in their thinking, in their ability to communicate. Remember we said something about the connection, not depending on communication. Some kind of knot is being untangled. Gordian knot. Bottom of the deck, Three of Cups. We have 2 3s on the board. Major Arcana, then 6 Lovers. This was to go between Fool and 7 of Cups. I don't usually read this as third party, somebody else in the mix. There could be a third party. For some reason, that's what this is suggesting, which could have caused confusion and the need for an apology. And like, do we have a future? 3 of Wands. Wanderer, Fool. Because this is somebody on the precipice of taking that leap into their own, the new beginning of this beginning of the journey. And here it is again, the journey. So maybe I'm wrong about this. It could be an apology for the confusion caused by, like, yeah, I'm not sure. Let's get one more. Tell us about 7 of Cups, Page of Cups. This offer coming in, maybe to dispel the confusion. Queen of Cups. Wow, so much feeling and love in this. Knight of Cups. Again, the offer coming in. Upgraded from Page to Knight. Okay. Clarify, please, I saw that, so I have to take it. 6 of Wands, the victory over a struggle. Somebody emerging with something to show for the struggle. Yeah, tell us about this 3 of Cups. I'd really like to know, does this in any way speak to third party? Four of Wands, King of Wands. No, I don't think so. Not anymore, anyway. You know, the things in fire energy on the board: 10 of Wands, 6 of Wands, Fool, 3 of Wands, 4 of Wands, King of Wands. That's a powerhouse of fire. That's extremely lively. I mean, I really like that energy because you have the end of a cycle, a beginning in Fool energy, archetypal beginning, you know, the beginning of the journey through life. 6 of Wands, something to show for it, successful. Battling something and coming out victorious. That allows you to look, somebody to look toward the future. And what's the future? I mean, I said, is there a third party? Well, this is the soulmate. You know, this is like meeting your match. And King of Wands is a great energy. It's like lion-hearted, Aries, Leo, Sag. I mean, look at this guy. He's strong, he's powerful, he's straightforward. He knows himself. He's passionate. He's got the sort of reptilian thing down in the area of the jewels. You know, which can sort of represent the drives, those basic drives for procreation, food, warmth, what we need to live, life force. So we have 6 of Wands, the victory, something's been won. 4 of Wands, the union. King of Wands, the purposeful king who could make it happen. And this is the first king on the board. Kind of irresistible. Like he's won somebody over. Queen of Cups. The one he loves, basically. Basically, that's it. And I don't think this is third party. I think it's reunion. It's a joyful reunion. I think it's an invitation, Knight of Cups, Page of Cups, to kind of join up in a kind of gleeful, it's a good reunion. We need kind of 3 more, I think, over here, clarifying Ace of Cups. Anything else for the Ace of Cups, the new beginning? And cup energy, water energy. Well, we got 4. 8 of Wands. Can be communication, can be flow, can be movement. Something's moving and pretty fast. In flight. Kind of in mid-flight. Like that 6 of Swords. Like in mid-air. It's on its way. It's incoming. Communication. Again, in Wands energy, boy, there's a lot of fire in this read. Five of Wands, again, a struggle, a clash. In this depiction, it's really not like, if it's working things out, it's competition. There's a snake here down below, which I think in this case is change and the need for change. A 5s can speak to that something's happening in a kind of chaotic way that will bring change. But I mean, talons are out here. So it may be communication about what went wrong. And even what went wrong in the communication. In some previous, but there's going to be a successful resolution to that. Queen of Pentacles. Well, again, a slight whiff of third party. There are two queens on the board. Eight of Swords. Very opposite energies. Eight of Swords is being stuck in your head. Queen of Pentacles is the grounded person in feminine energy who knows themselves. We have Eight of Wands, Five of Wands, which I put down in reverse, which is sort of interesting. Oh, and I'm sorry, it's not Queen of Pentacles, it's Eight of Pentacles. Work being done on kind of untangling. Remember I said it's like a knot, untangling the knot through either communication or it's this Four of Pentacles tourniquet being the knot being taken out to return the flow. Eight of Wands, the flow. So it's Eight of Wands, Eight of Coins, of Pentacles, 16, Tower. And that was sort of implicit here. Remember I said he's in a tower? He, she, they, the Four of Pentacles, tourniquet place. I think it's like the tourniquet's been untangled. And it may cause like the blood rushing back in may cause kind of a tower moment because you're being freed up rather dramatically and quickly. Somebody is. But weirdly enough, it's on the basis of a lot of work, a lot of time. Tourniquet comes off. So there's sort of a startling liberation, an epiphany, a game-changing new way of understanding that like untangles, loosens the tourniquet to allow for flow. I think that's really interesting. I feel like there are still questions. This Seven of Cups, slight like, what does this mean? One more on this side. King of Wands, Four of Wands, Six of Wands, so positive. This person is sure of themselves, knows what direction to go in, knows what to do. And it's like to come on strong. and to sort of, I think, win somebody back. The tourniquet has been, it's like this person has come back into their power, into their fire, into their, that's a lot. All right, into their mojo world. You know, it's from constriction to opening. It's from 3D fear and contraction to a whole new and in this it depicts an elder. You know, it's the last card we have, Fool, the first card in the Major Arcana, and World, the last card in the Major Arcana. So it's the successful, it's something that's been brought to fruition. Brought to fruition. Successfully passing through this doorway. Store. Just recently, I mean, I always see this as a card of being guided to where you're supposed to be. It's a card of healing, clarity, Aquarian energy of the overview. Somebody else said it's a card of past life. Connections, past life connections. Card of Aquarius, could be dealing with an Aquarius. Maybe a Leo. There's so much fire here, and King of Wands. And there's a lot of water in this as well, like Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio energy. Queen of Cups. And there's that element too of Six of Wands, because some people talk about this as being a star, a standout. You shine brightly. Aquarian energy. A wish is granted as well. Queen of Wands, a match to the King of Wands. The intuitive, the seer. I had something written on here about, I think about the seer. Yeah. It just says the practitioners bridge the gap. Seers, Shah men, Shah women, witches. They lift the veil. God unmasked and accessible. This is an intuitive, feminine energy of being tapped into that ineffable. And having your life be guided by, in Wands energy, guided by, pulled by, motivated by this openness to kind of to it all. The openness to it all. Card of weighing things up, consideration, and a search for balance in Pentacles energy, which is a nice change from Four of Pentacles, from this clamped down, constricted tourniquet place. This is like loosening the knot. You know, you can see she's draped in, they draped in these garlands. sailboats in the background. She's on land, but at the edge of the ocean. It's a card of choice. Choosing to heal. Two of Pentacles, Star. Finding your way to the place, Star. You know, making the right choice. Here again is the choice. Oh my God, 3 twos. Two of Pentacles. Two of Wands came next, and then Two of Swords. These are really different energies. This is like, where do I go? And this is like, I don't know. I can't decide. This is a decision where to go. Making that decision. Planning it. Preparing for it. And this is like, you know, blindfolded. Sort of whacking with these swords. Like trying to feel your way. This is Wands. Two of Wands is figuring it out. Which direction? Two of Swords is like, I can't figure it out. I'm blocked. And Two of Pentacles, the balance, I'm hearing take me to the river. Wash me down. Two is 6 is Lovers. And this is a card of somebody who attracts. And there were a lot of questions here. Do I, don't I? You know, do I know what I want? Do I know which direction to go? And the answer is sort of yes. Intuitively, this character not only knows, but she's drawing somebody in. She's like the bright fire energy of the star. She's like open to her guides. Star card, you know, the star that guides you. She's open to that. Intuitively knows where to go. We have a King and Queen of Wands. I think there's been waffling, indecision, you know, a lot of time, Pentacles, Two of Pentacles, been spent weighing things up. And then it's like, in comes the decision to step through the portal. To step through the portal. To embark on the journey, to begin again. I did it again. I'm sorry. And then there was light, you know. And then there was light. Fire energy. I know where to go. And then this flood of Six of Wands, Four of Wands, King of Wands world. Somebody's going to pull something off. And it's two people. There is an implication of a tower moment, but it liberates. It removes this tourniquet energy. When the blood comes back into the limb that's been, because tourniquets are important. You know, sometimes you need to staunch the flow, particularly if you're kind of bleeding out through sadness, through a feeling of loss. Staunch the flow. and then undo the tourniquet so that it can, the feeling comes back into the part of you that's been part of somebody that's been, the feeling begins to come back. And sometimes that hurts. I don't know if you've ever had of necessity a tourniquet on and it indicates a wound, you know, but healing, moving forward, forward movement, 2 of Wands, 6 of Swords, Knight of Cups. Eight of Wands, a lot of cards of movement after this period of something that was screeched to a halt. And I think part of the struggle was to undo the knot and get the flow back. Remember I said it hurts sometimes to get the flow back? There's that 5 of Wands, you know, the 2 falcon, I guess, like in an aerial battle. And something being really constricted. 8 of Swords. Back in the flow. 8 and 8, a kind of implication of Tower. Tower that liberates the flow. I'm all for that. Slipstream. Love you guys. See you soon.